Wandsworth Radio.
In the studio for hashtag New Music Monday. Ella, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
A warm welcome on the show. I'm glad you're happy to be here as well. You have been singing since you were young, am I right?
Yeah, pretty much since I was 6, 7.
But this single's only just come out.
I know. What happened?
What took you so long?
So basically, there was a lot of travelling in between me going to uni and me actually fully getting engrossed into the music industry. So it's hard for me to really find a piece of music that I was super happy with. So finally, I kind of just had to put my heart on the line and just do it.
You're a bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
It's got to be the perfect song.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Is it pressure to get the perfect debut out there?
I think when in terms of, I've done a lot of collaborations before, but in terms of doing a single, your own music, I've written it, composed it. I think there's just a lot of pressure on yourself, because if it's bad because of you, and if it's good because of you. But there's a lot of pressure just on one person.
So surely a lot has gone into this song.
Yeah, and a lot of people. So I can't just say that I was the only one who's done it. I have a team of people working and helping me to do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Lyrics are. I love these lyrics, by the way. You change your plans and you change your mind. I try to keep up, but I'm left behind. I don't know you. Who's that aimed at?
That is a question and a half.
Am I allowed to ask that
Of course you're allowed to ask it. Well, with the song, really, as I said, it changes as time goes on. So it really means a lot of things in different parts of my life. But it was definitely aimed at one person when I was writing it. I'm not going to give him the attention to say who it really is. But now it really does. It means something so much bigger and so much more open, I'd say.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people have been in a situation where they're like, hang on a sec, who are you?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Have you got to that point yet where people are coming up to you saying, I relate to your song, I get it?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I think most musicians do music, is so that when they're in a situation that they feel really alone and feel really vulnerable, that other people can relate to them and actually think, oh, I'm not alone, and I'm not the only one who's feeling like an idiot or feeling super crazy right now. So that's really the reason why I did it. And yeah, some people, when they are listening to it, tell me oh, I actually really get what you're saying here, and that's such a great, that's the reason why I do it. That's such a good feeling.
Oh,
yeah.
Good. So that's why you got into it at a very, very young age. Okay, how old were you? Did you say 7 when you decided you wanted to be a singer?
Well, the funny story is that I actually saw my brother in he was in a musical, Oliver, and typical younger sister being I need to be better than him.
I was exactly the same. My brother was in a musical too, and I was like, I want to do this.
Yeah, you're I need to be better than him. Yeah. And so I saw him in a musical, and I was like, dude, I have to do this. This is so it really hit me in a different level than anything else I was looking at the time did. And so I was in choir, and I started doing singing lessons, the basic stuff. And then when I moved to New York, I was actually I was around such artistic, creative, inspirational people, and I was I need to really get on my game, get on the grind, do this, yeah.
So you moved to New York when you were 13?
Yeah, I think I was 12, 13, I can't really remember the actual date.
On your own? Or with
No,
family?
so I moved with my family, and it was really weird, obviously being 12, 13, a prepubescent little girl, you don't really know what you're doing, you're going through such a horrible, weird time. And it was just at the time I was why are we doing this? I hate this, I'm in such a good spot in England, I'm loving it. I had such a good friend group, and when I moved to New York it was such a change, moving from Reading, a small town in Reading, to New York City, it was such a huge transition. And I think for a 13-year-old it was a little much, but now I fully feel blessed, and I feel happy that we did that.
Whenever I think of New York high school, I think of Gossip Girl.
Everyone says that, and you know what? You're kind of right with that. I'm not
Really?
gonna lie to you.
Is it actually like that?
It's a little like that. It's a little there are some, but it's with really any high school. I think being a catty 15-year-old girl. It's just easy to get into that that hateful realm, and I think Gossip Girl got it nail on the head, I'd say.
Fair play. Has any of that influenced your music at all then?
100%. I think not in terms of my actual lyric and content, but I think in terms of working in the industry and talking to people, I think that I had to grow up a lot quicker than a lot of other people. So when I'm talking to older people in the industry, it's a tiny bit easier for me. And there are, in New York, I think there's a lot of social climbing aspects, as there is anywhere, in London, anywhere big capital of the world. and at the time I hated it, but now I'm kind of like, I'm really happy I was there in that horrible time, because I now know how to like finesse.
I love it. Finesse. So were you working on music whilst you were in New York, or was that more when you came back to the UK?
So when I was in New York, I was doing, I was studying opera actually at Manus. Big up Manus. It's a music conservatory, so I was doing a lot of classical musical training there. And on the side, I was collaborating with like DJs and stuff. That's when like EDM was really on the rise and stuff. So I was doing a lot of EDM collaborations, and it was super fun because I got to collaborate with like really intelligent engineers and producers and stuff. And then I realized I was like, it's too much of a transition going from opera to EDM, and I was like, I need to just like make my life what I want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, when I read that you studied opera, I was like, first of all, I'm pretty sure that's the hardest, most technical form of singing.
It's a ballet of music, yeah, it really is.
And then to have that, and then to have your music, which is quite kind of R&B, soul,
minimalistic, yeah,
very, very completely different. Yeah. How on earth did you go from that to this?
See, I think that's the reason why I came to London, and I was like, all right, cut the crap. I gotta actually really like do what I gotta live what I'm like practice what you preach, basically. It was just too much of a transition going to uni and training like Bach and Beethoven and like really high art forms, and then going to like the studio at night and like working on EDM tracks. It was just too much of a change, it was super fun at the time, but I was like, this isn't sustainable. So moving to London and getting into my development program was such a huge help, and I felt like I had all my like goals kind of like I was working towards what I actually wanted to do, which was such a good feeling.
I can imagine. Do Bach and Mozart and those, do they ever creep into your music now?
See, that's why like when I'm at the studio and stuff, I'm saying like I say like little like Italian terms, like musical Italian terms, like technical terms, and my producer's like, speak English. I don't know. Like,
but surely that's good though. I mean, I was reading an article with Quincy Jones a couple of weeks ago. I love Quincy Jones, and he was saying like, in order to make good music, you got to know your history.
And that's the thing. Do you see any like really good hip hop dancers who haven't learned ballet? Like, you have to learn the basics, like the real basics, before you go into anything like at all like niche or whatever you really want to do.
How involved do you get in the music side, or are you more of the lyrics and melody, or do you do it all?
With the music, like say in terms of like if I'm just like recording at the studio, I love to really get like hands on. Like I'll go like record my vocals, and then I'll come back and look at like what he's doing on Logic or whatever. Like I love like being completely hands on, and especially because I want to know what he's doing with my stuff.
Of course, it's your sound. You're trying to say something, so you want to make sure that it's what you want to say. Of course. Yeah. What are you listening to at the minute?
I would say like actually most of my like iTunes, iPod is really hip hop, R&B, some pop like gets in there, but only pop people who are like really heavily influenced by like jazz, hip hop, R&B.
So they are your kind of main influences.
Yeah, they give me the feel, so I'm like, anything that makes me feel anything, I'm gonna listen to.
I know the feel very, very well, and I'm guessing all of that can be heard in your music as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
So we've heard Don't Know You, we will hear it again. What's next?
So me and a friend have a song called Waste My Time, coming out probably in March time. That will be like promoted after Don't Know You. I want to really get like the promotion done for Don't Know You, and really get it out there until I start promoting this other song. But this song that's going to come out, Waste My Time, is very hopefully it reflects my like influences. I'm trying to really take into account like Anderson .Paak, like A$AP Rocky, like really, really big artists, and put it into that song. Yeah.
You were working with Powerhouse.
Yeah, Power Studios. Yeah.
Power Studios.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got Powerhouse.
It sounds like it like fits. Yeah.
So it's an artist development kind of.
Yeah. So it's a studio, and basically I said like I want to be here for like 2-3 years, and like as development, like I want to just like not all of, because I feel like when you go to the studio you're working towards releasing stuff. So it wasn't necessarily just to release music, it was literally just to mess around with records and mess around with music and see what actually fits. At the moment, I'm trying to figure out my genre, and I'm trying to really put myself in a box, which I don't think is necessary, but I think that's what I've been doing for the last like year and a half, really trying to like narrow myself into something that's marketable.
Oh, I would have thought that narrowing wasn't good. I thought you'd want to be like quite expressive.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say narrowing it. I'm just like in terms of marketing and stuff.
Like so people know exactly what you are as soon as they see and hear you.
Exactly.
That makes
so everything
sense.
like links with one other thing, you know.
Yeah, I always wondered how the artist development companies work. So it sounds like it's been quite a positive experience.
Yeah, like it's like I've never not liked it. It's been such a great experience for me. Like I'm really just every day I'm like working on something new and working on something not just new and like silly. It's something that will actually progress me in my career. So
fair play.
Yeah.
Have you found you've improved, like not just as sound but as a writer? As an
I
artist
was
in general?
listening to actually 2 days ago. I was listening to a song that I did. I think it was June 2015 or 16 when I literally first moved to London. And I was just in such a weird place, and it was just like the lyrics were really bad, the singing was just really bad, like, everything was just super bad, but it was so good to hear that because I was like, wow, I have like come a mile, more than a mile. I've come like a really long way. Yeah.
I bet. There's a video of you online, Balcony TV, which you performed with.
Yeah.
Same
I was like,
story.
what is it?
And you're performing on, where was it? It was on top of a very high building.
It was beautiful, yeah.
And you were wearing like a bandana.
Yeah.
Just a bandana.
I think this is it. This is the bandana. Oh yeah.
First of all, were you not freezing?
Freezing. It's October. It's so cold.
Like of all, fashion, does that play like quite a big bit in your artistry as well?
Yeah, so when I was in New York, most of like my best guy friend, he like works for Vogue. He's like such a big part of my life. And most of my friends in New York, I went to the New School, so that's Parsons, and that's like the biggest fashion school like in the world, I'd say. So yeah, fashion. Fashion is like a big part of my life, only because I'm just super interested in it, but I'm not interested in it in a career space, I'd say.
I've been talking on Facebook and we've been having a conversation on Wandsworth Radio about Botox. The reason why I asked the question of whether it's something we should just accept or not, because I don't know if you saw a few weeks ago on This Morning, Stacey Solomon, she went to go get a facial and her beautician suggested that she should start looking into getting Botox. And she's only 28, so she was like, no, I don't like it, I'm not into it. But I've actually spoken to quite a few people who say if you're going to do Botox, you need to start doing it in your 20s to stop wrinkles.
Preventative Botox, right?
Yeah, which I think is a bit crazy because I'm in my 20s and I'm terrified of putting poison in my face.
Well, you have beautiful skin, you don't gotta worry, girl.
Well, thank you very much. But it just seems to be something that's quite normal, and a few people have been tweeting in and getting in touch with me saying, hey, why not? Let's just make it, why is it any different than makeup or anything?
Yeah.
What's your opinions on it?
I think whether it be a boy or a girl, like I think if you feel as though your confidence will be lifted and your confidence will be heightened because of this Botox, as it would be if you were going to like the gym or if you were like putting on a nice dress or nice trousers, I think that, go for it. Like, do whatever would make you feel a tiny bit more confident or happy. If that's really an issue, then 100%, if you can afford it, if it's not a drop in the ocean for you, go for it. Like,
would you do it?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I would do it. I ain't gonna lie. I would definitely do it. I just think it's such a taboo subject at the moment. I think it should just be like an open, casual convo.
Yeah, fair play. Yeah. What do you do to make yourself feel more comfortable before you go on stage?
I work out a bunch.
Do
I literally
you?
tire myself out. Like my body. Like I work my body out a lot. And that just makes me, because I get terrible stage fright, so I think if I just completely tire myself out, then I literally will not have the energy to put into being nervous.
That's not actually a bad message. Do you still get stage fright?
I actually had to get hypnotized for it, really.
No.
Yeah, I got hypnotized for it, and it was actually a huge help. Like, it was I can't even begin. It was the craziest experience. Like,
I'm not sure if I believe you.
I swear on my life. Like, I went to this guy in New York, and they were doing a deal for my school because a lot of the performers at my school were really nervous. And they were like, if you're a student at the school, we'll be like 60% off. And I was like, I am obsessed with bargains, so I'm 100% going to do this. I went in and it was really relaxed, and it wasn't like he wasn't like dangling a clock in front of my face. It was more of like just a casual conversation where he like really calmed me down and talked to me about, instead of being nervous and blocking that in my mind, like making it a wall for me, transfer that energy into like excitement. And I was like, all right, like and then after those like 3 sessions, I was like, this is sick. Like, I feel fine now, so I don't get crazy stage fright anymore. But it is like, I do kind of dread it. Like sometimes when I'm growing up, I'm like, why did I choose this career? You know, like
there's always the
yeah.
way. Then afterwards, you're on like a massive high.
Oh my god, it's like a second to none.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like CBT, what you just described. Have you heard of it?
No, what's that?
What does it stand for? It's just essentially a way of behavioural therapy. So it's a similar thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something in your mind that's blocking you, turn the negative energy
Like
into a positive energy,
okay.
or like turn the voice in your head that's telling you bad things into good things, or like make it sound like a cartoon so it sounds a little less important and stuff like that. So
kind of like that,
yeah, like a lot of people who've actually come into the studio talk to me a lot about like their mental health and stuff, which is obviously like a huge topic
right now,
at the moment, and particularly as well in musicians. Danny Sylvia, who was in last week, was talking about music for mental wealth. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't, but yeah.
I don't know, because it seems to affect creatives a lot.
Yeah.
Is it something you've come across?
I actually did. This is something I did a while ago. I helped autistic kids learn how to play the drums, and it was super interesting because I saw it on such an extreme level that like when they were having like an episode or something, when they would listen to Beethoven or something like high art, it would completely calm them down, and it was so interesting to see that something so like extreme and so like panicked at the time could be completely like settled by music. And I thought that was so interesting, and I think that transfers a lot into how like musicians can, like music is their way of calming themselves down, you know, like it's just a way of like settling your anxiety. And I think a lot of musicians have anxiety. I think that's like such a big thing. So yeah, I think I'm such a big supporter of like transferring music into helping mental health. Yeah,
that sounds amazing. When did you do that?
when I was like 16, 17.
So was this back in New York?
Yeah, when I was thinking about doing music therapy for a little bit, and it was just such a great experience for me to see that, like especially with children. It was so cool, and it felt so rewarding too. I never thought it would feel that way. Yeah,
and maybe something you might do.
Yeah, who knows?
You've talked a lot about New York. When did you actually move back to London?
So I moved back to London so I had a summer here 2015, and that's when I was like, all right, I gotta actually move back, because I was like, I love it here so much, like I just have to stay. So I moved back in, I think, 2017, and I'm studying at King's College right now, music, and yeah, I'm loving it. I don't have literally no complaints apart from the weather. Not a fan. Not a fan.
That's kind of just normal, isn't it? See, I'm surprised. Now I love London. Don't get me wrong, but living in New York sounds like a dream.
Yeah, it's small.
Really?
It's an island, so it's small, and I would always find like every 6 months or a year or so, I'd have to be like, all right, I just gotta like decompress, go somewhere, just stop, like, because it's small. You see everyone, like all of my friends live basically 10 blocks away from me in radius, and it's like very hard to get away sometimes when you need a break. And it's the work ethic there is incredible. Like there's such a buzz to New York, and I love it, but sometimes you do have to have a break from it, you know. It's no one works 9 to 5. It's like 9 to 1 or something silly like that. Yeah.
Although you have just moved to the city that's most like New York, you know that.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't do a huge transition again. My body wouldn't be able to take it. I was like, I need a city. You know?
Not planning on going back to Reading.
No, I don't think so. I love Reading though. Big up Reading.
Wandsworth Radio.